can begin. We are live.
Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. Happy Pride Month, as slightly belated Happy Juneteenth. I was celebrating Juneteenth in Harlem last weekend, and it's clear that our city is roaring back to life. The streets were full of people dancing and celebrating and being together. Incredible though it may seem, given all that we've been through, we are in the middle of a recovery. And in the months ahead, the Mayor's Fund will continue to play an important role. One area that is critical for a full recovery is supporting our young people, the future of our city. We must get our children back in school, back on track, back where they belong. There is tremendous urgency here. And as you all know, it's not as simple as opening our doors and our classrooms again. The past year has been really tough on our children, academically, socially, emotionally, and we need to support them in every way that we can. And I'm proud to say that the Mayor's Fund is playing a big role through the Trust Youth Initiative, a program that is the first of its kind in the nation. The program provides direct cash assistance to young adults 18 or along with a range of health services to help them find a home and youth homeless in our city. The Trust Youth Initiative on LGBTQ young people in our city who experience homelessness and health challenges proportionately. I want to highlight that the Trust Youth Initiative is a partnership Office of Economic Opportunity, where Matt Klein is an outstanding leader. Thank you, Matt, for your work on this program and all that you do.
Thanks.
Going forward, we also have to make sure that our children have the outdoor spaces they need to play sports, to socialize, and learn to work together. This past Saturday, we unveiled the newest soccer mini pitch at Colonel Young Playground in Harlem in partnership with the U.S. Soccer Foundation, NYC Football Club, Adidas, Etihad Airways, Black Players for Change, and the Black Women's Player Collective. It's a lot of partners. That soccer pitch is going to bring joy and change hundreds of lives. And it's just one of the 50 community pitches citywide we will build by the end of this year. I'm holding for applause. This is pretty amazing. And of course, we cannot have a recovery without the small businesses that are the heart and soul of our communities. The Mayor's Fund has continued to support them in the recovery and providing an additional round of support to more than 60 restaurants through the Restaurant Revitalization Program. The majority of these businesses are located in the communities of color our task force has identified as hardest hit by COVID. And the work continues. The fund is exercising real strength strategically to help the city come back more fair and better. I appreciate every one of our board members and the staff for their continued dedication. Thank you all. And I'll now turn the meeting over to Jorge Luis, who will take us through the rest of the agenda.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Really appreciate it. As always, thank you for your leadership and your guidance. And thank you to the directors and the officers of this board for your service and your guidance. It has been invaluable during this time. First item on our agenda calls for approving the minutes from our last meeting. Please refer to page 1 in the board materials to review the minutes from our last board meeting. There's some time to look those over, and if there are any comments or edits that you wish to make, please raise them now. If there are no comments or edits to make to the minutes, may I please hear a motion to approve the minutes from our meeting of February 5th?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
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 All opposed? This motion carries. Thank you very much. February 5th meeting minutes have been approved and adopted. Now, since we don't have any resolutions this time to vote on, I turn now to my report. Promise to keep your time commitments to a minimum today. But since we last met in February, the Mayor's Fund has done a great deal of work. We've released our annual report in both digital and print format. In that report, we aim to tell the stories of New Yorkers impacted by the programming that we supported or facilitated. And since we last met, I'm happy to say that the First Lady and the Mayor's Fund were recognized for our COVID-19 emergency relief efforts by Empire Blue Cross Blue Shield as one of 50 whole health heroes who, and I quote, displayed extraordinary leadership, dedication, empathy, and remarkable compassion to help ensure the safety and wellness of all New Yorkers during this unprecedented crisis. The recognition is well deserved. During the toughest days of the pandemic, when both personal and community-wide burdens were at their heaviest, the Mayor's Fund kept pace to provide the robust response that New Yorkers deserved. Their work means that we're on track to record approximately $21.5 million in total revenue for this current fiscal year. Chart 1 on page 3 of your board materials illustrates this. I should note that this figure is an estimation. It's a projection that's not yet been audited, and it is only through mid-June, so we're not even through the fiscal year yet. We're not done yet. The final amount that will be raised in total revenue will be reported in our next meeting after the completion of our annual audit. But I wanted to provide this figure to you now so that you can see the results of this team's work. But I also want to give you examples of some of the programs we supported or facilitated since we've last met. We supported a welcome back campaign for CUNY students to re-engage at least 600 students, including 100 former students majoring in STEM fields, whose enrollment lapsed in 2020, as well as 500 prospective students who were recently admitted to CUNY community college programs, but they never enrolled. So these participants, part of this Welcome Back campaign, would receive intensive support through the admissions and re-enrollment process. They received financial aid, ongoing academic and career advisement, and STEM intensive programming with their peers. What the pandemic interrupted for these students, we aim to restart with this program. We also facilitated a partnership between the Mayor's Office to End Gender-Based Violence, NGBV, and Norton LifeLock to provide cybersecurity licenses to survivors of domestic violence and to train NGBV staff in cyber safety training, which will help them assess the needs of survivors for protection against stalkerware and to help detect malicious applications being used to harass, control, and harm. Also, in partnership with NGBV, we facilitated a partnership between T-Mobile and NGBV to provide 1,000 mobile devices with discounted plans to survivors, a partnership we announced earlier this week. We also partnered with the City of New York, the Information Technology Disaster Resource Center, the Rockefeller Foundation, Zoom, Cielo Scholarship Foundation, and Education Superhighway to ensure that students learn remotely in the Learning Labs K-8 component of the Learning Bridges at the Cornerstone Community Centers in Summit NYCHA had access to free high-speed connectivity. We also, as the First Lady mentioned in her opening remarks, extended the restaurant revitalization program to continue supporting our city's most treasured institutions. And we did this by contributing more than $400,000 that we had previously raised. Moreover, in partnership with the New York City Unity Project, the Ali Forney Center, the Mayor's Fund supported the launch of Unity Works, which stands to be the country's largest and most comprehensive workforce development program ever created for LGBTQI communities, and that was specifically focused on supporting homeless and runaway LGBTQI youth. And again, as we heard earlier from the First Lady, we supported the launch of the Trust Youth Initiative in partnership with Chapin Hogg, the University of Chicago, and Point Source Youth, and with support from the Mayor's Office of Economic Opportunity, the Block Leavitt Foundation, the Melville Charitable Trust, Robin Hood Foundation, and the New York City Fund to End Youth and Family Homelessness. This is an innovative pilot program to study direct cash assistance with optional supportive services to help advance the goal of ending youth homelessness in New York City and build actionable evidence for other cities to replicate. And if you haven't heard already, Danielle, along with her development team, are building an impressive roster of sponsors for the upcoming Hometown Heroes Parade. If that sounds like it's a lot, it's because it is. But this team meets the challenge each time with enthusiasm because their work, they know that their work culminates in a better city for all New Yorkers of all walks of life. Thank you again, Madam Chair, directors, and officers of this board for your support, your help, and your guidance. That's it for my report. I'd like to now move to the next item of our agenda of new business. This opens up the meeting to our directors and officers for any new business that they wish to bring, or if they have comments or questions about the report, they can feel free to ask now.
Just congratulations on the range of different important projects. It's great.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much. And indeed, without your help and support, some of these could not have been made possible.
Yeah, I think, and I just want to acknowledge that it feels like the current folks at the Mayor's Fund have really done a good job of continuing what got started last year, where the Mayor's Fund is reaching the gaps in the system and the folks who were most affected by the crisis, who have sort of the least resources, and taking that from, you know, the partnership with Soros to reach the undocumented folks who are not eligible for assistance through to these new initiatives for domestic violence survivors and LGBTQ youth. Seems to make a lot of sense to me, and just seems like a really useful direction for the fund to be going.
Thank you so much, Alexis. Indeed, the pandemic only highlighted the needs to help fill these gaps. And so indeed, we at the beginning of the pandemic, so many new programs were created and launched because we want not only to respond to the crisis, but also we saw it as an opportunity to really try to affect real change in some of these areas and gaps. So thank you. Okay, unless there are any questions or any comments, we can move on with the agenda. Next item is simply to remind folks that our next meeting, our full board meeting, will likely be in October. So that's when we are scheduled to meet. We will likely also have an audit and finance committee meeting before that in terms of our scheduling. So that is the report. May I have a motion to close the meeting if there is indeed no other new business?
So moved.
May I have a second? I hear the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right,
Aye.
motion carries. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.